Chapter 204. Note: explicit content has been toned down. For the full, uncensored version, please read the original text on the web novel app. It was 5 o'clock in the morning. Tony woke to the sound of Lily kissing him. "When did you wake up?" Tony asked with a sleepy tone. "Just now. Did you sleep well?" Lily replied with a sweet smile. Tony did not answer, choosing instead to kiss her lips while holding her. "Stop. It is early morning," Lily complained in a playful tone. "Morning action is good for your health," Tony commented while moving his hands over her body. She did not feel any pain like the night before. She enjoyed the tingling sensation from her chest as Tony sucked on her while inserting a finger inside her. After preparing her, Tony changed his position. He lifted her right leg, placed it on his shoulder, and started moving into her. Within half an hour, he changed several positions and made her reach climax multiple times. "Tony, stop. I cannot take it anymore," Lily cried out as Tony lifted her into the air to place her on him. With a big smile, Tony placed her back on the bed and shifted to the top. While Lily stared at him with a bewildered gaze, he rested against her chest and pressed them together. The smooth sensation from her skin made him move harder. He continued to move between her while grabbing them firmly with both hands. After 5 more minutes, Tony finished. Later, he carried her to the bathroom to clean her body. After 20 minutes, Tony kissed her forehead before getting up from the bed. Meanwhile, Skylar lay awake beneath her blanket. She stared at the ceiling with a face dark enough to frighten servants. Earlier, she had forced herself to ignore Tony sneaking out of the room. They were strangers forced into a marriage, so his actions were not her business. Unfortunately, the room next door seemed determined to challenge her patience. Faint laughter occasionally drifted through the wall. Then came voices. Then more laughter. Then even louder moaning. Skylar slowly sat upright, a vein appearing on her forehead. Unbelievable. Yesterday he married her, and today he brought another woman into the family. Tonight he was enjoying himself while she could not sleep. The more she listened, the angrier she became. Finally, she grabbed a pillow and threw it against the wall separating the rooms. Her expression darkened again. Today, she muttered while grinding her teeth, "Either Peter Jane beats him unconscious, or I will." The city combat hall had not seen such excitement in years. Long before the official duel began, people had already flooded the enormous open arena. Merchants abandoned their shops, and martial artists postponed training sessions. Noble young masters arrived with entourages, and even elderly experts quietly took seats among the crowd. The circular combat stage stood proudly at the center of the complex. Thousands of eyes remained fixed upon it. The reason was simple. Peter Jane's challenge had attracted attention, and Tony Clark's acceptance had created a storm. Nobody cared about the duel itself anymore. The real question circulating through the city was far more interesting. Why were they fighting? Is it for Skylar? The recent version of Tony Clark made no sense. He suddenly stopped chasing Madame Lan, married Skylar without causing trouble, and brought a new girl home. For many people, that last change was the most unbelievable. Near one corner of the arena sat the bald monk. Outwardly he appeared calm, holding a wooden prayer bead necklace while observing the crowd. Inwardly, however, he was paying attention to every entrance. His gaze occasionally drifted toward the stage where Peter Jane already stood. The magistrate's son appeared confident, arrogant, and proud. Everything about him screamed noble young master. Yet the monk barely cared about Peter. His attention remained focused on a different person, Tony Clark. The monk smiled faintly. If it really is him, then today should become very entertaining. Several spectators nearby turned toward the monk after hearing him laugh alone. The monk immediately resumed his peaceful appearance. The spectators quickly looked away. Meanwhile, hidden among the sea of people occupying the upper rows, Elsa quietly watched the arena with cold eyes. 7 members of the demonic sea tribe sat around her in random positions. None of them wore tribal clothing. None of them revealed their true identities. To ordinary observers, they looked like unrelated spectators. Only Elsa knew the truth. They had already surrounded the arena. If an opportunity appeared, they would strike immediately. One tribe member sitting nearby spoke without moving his lips. "Are you certain he will come?" Elsa's gaze never left the entrance. "He will come." The warrior nodded. "What if he is not the real one?" A cold smile appeared on Elsa's face. "Then he dies for nothing." The answer caused several tribe members to laugh quietly. Elsa possessed information unavailable to most participants. The more she investigated Tony Clark's recent actions, the more convinced she became. Nobody changed personalities overnight unless a foreign soul occupied the role. Everything pointed toward the same conclusion. Tony Clark was here. At the center stage, Peter Jane stood with his hands behind his back. He maintained the dignified posture expected of the magistrate's son. Yet beneath the calm appearance, Mark Smith's thoughts remained restless. The arena felt strange. Too many people were staring. Too many people seemed interested in Tony Clark. Even worse, the name continued bothering him. Every time he heard it, an irritating sense of familiarity emerged, as though a forgotten memory sat just beyond reach. Mark disliked the feeling very much. His gaze moved toward the main entrance. A strange tension slowly spread throughout the arena. Many had come for a duel. Others had come for entertainment. A few had come for revenge, and several had come to kill. Yet all of them shared one common goal. They wanted to see Tony Clark. More specifically, they wanted to discover whether the man walking toward this arena was the man they knew from the ancient world, or the one they remembered from reality. Chapter 205. The atmosphere inside the city combat hall had become increasingly tense as the minutes passed. Thousands of spectators occupied every available seat, while countless others stood upon surrounding rooftops, just to secure a better view of the upcoming duel. The excitement had long surpassed the level of an ordinary challenge between two young masters. Rumors, gossip, speculation, and countless theories had transformed the event into the most discussed topic throughout the city. Then, suddenly, the crowd stirred. Dozens of heads turned simultaneously toward the main entrance. A pathway naturally opened, and the Clark family arrived. At the front walked several family elders and branch leaders. Behind them came the old patriarch himself, moving with calm authority that silenced many nearby discussions. His mere presence reminded everyone why the Clark family remained one of the city's dominant powers. Then Tony appeared. The reaction was immediate, and whispers spread through the audience like wildfire. That is him, young Master Tony. The groom, the troublemaker, the fellow who brought another woman home a day after marriage. Many spectators looked excited, others looked amused, while several looked jealous. The most interesting part was not Tony himself. It was the two women accompanying him. Skylar walked on one side wearing elegant blue robes, while maintaining a cold expression. Lily walked on the other side, while openly observing the arena with curiosity. The sight caused another explosion of discussion. A wife and a lover? He is brave. No, he is suicidal. How is he still alive? Even several elders struggled to suppress their laughter. Tony naturally heard everything. He appeared completely proud. The Clark family patriarch immediately felt a headache. Meanwhile, across the arena, another group entered. The magistrate arrived with his officials, his guards, and finally, Peter Jane's lover, Duja. The crowd immediately shifted attention. Many stared at Duja in awe and desire. Both competitors now stood within sight of each other, and the noise gradually disappeared. Peter's eyes locked onto Tony. Tony's eyes locked onto Peter. Neither spoke immediately, and neither moved. Yet something strange happened, as both suddenly felt a sense of familiarity. This was not because of appearance or identity. It was because of attitude. The way they stood, observed, and looked at the world was identical. For several seconds, silence dominated the arena. Then Tony smiled, offering a very specific, villainous, arrogant smile. Mark froze. Tony spoke first. Interesting to see a loser again. The simple word, loser, carried a special meaning. Mark's expression immediately changed. That tone, that irritating tone, that smug confidence. A memory surfaced instantly. Tony Clark. Meanwhile, Tony also received confirmation. The moment Peter's expression twisted, everything became obvious. Nobody else in existence reacted quite like Mark Smith when annoyed. Tony laughed while staring directly into the opponent's eyes. Peter immediately understood that the fellow standing opposite him was not merely a dummy named Tony Clark. It was Tony, the real Tony. The realization caused excitement to appear in Mark's eyes. For the first time since entering the dream realm, he had found someone familiar. Unfortunately, that familiar person happened to be Tony Clark. Well, Mark said, loudly enough for nearby spectators to hear. I did not expect the famous young Master Tony to show up personally. I heard marriage has made you much busier recently. The crowd laughed. Tony grinned. I did not expect the magistrate's son to be such a jealous person. I hope you find a girl at least half as beautiful as my wife. Several spectators nearly spat out their drinks. Everyone turned towards Duja for a second, who stood there fuming with anger. Mark's eye twitched. It was the same Tony. Absolutely the same Tony. Lily stood behind Tony while staring at Peter. Then, realization finally struck. Her eyes widened. Mark Smith. The words escaped almost unconsciously. Tony nodded slightly. Looks like fate is not finished entertaining us. Peter smiled. Inside, excitement surged through him. This was not merely a duel anymore. This was an opportunity to eliminate Tony before the true World Tree competition even began. If Tony died inside the dream realm, he would lose all opportunities hidden here. The thought alone made Mark happy. Meanwhile, hidden among the spectators, Elsa's eyes brightened. Confirmation. Complete confirmation. Tony and Mark, two real-world participants identified in a single morning. The corners of her lips slowly rose. Beside her, several demonic sea tribe warriors exchanged excited looks. Leader, it is them. Elsa nodded. At the edge of the arena, the bald monk had also reached the same conclusion. The moment Tony opened his mouth, all doubt vanished. Nobody else could speak like that. Nobody else could provoke enemies so naturally. The monk laughed loudly. Several spectators glanced toward him strangely, but the monk ignored them. Wonderful. The word escaped naturally. The fellow really was Tony, and the world suddenly became much more interesting. Back at the arena center, the verbal exchange continued. Peter folded his arms. You seem very confident. Tony nodded. I am. Despite standing before me? Tony looked confused. Should I be worried? The crowd laughed. Peter's smile became colder. You have always relied on luck. Tony immediately pointed toward Lily. See, this imperial idiot is still not accepting his defeat. Lily nodded. The crowd became increasingly confused. What were they talking about? Neither side seemed interested in ordinary trash talk. Instead, they appeared to be having a conversation only they understood. Peter eventually stopped smiling. His aura slowly emerged, and the temperature inside the arena seemed to drop. Several nearby spectators immediately became serious. It was real power. Tony's smile gradually disappeared as well. He did not feel pressure, but the duel was finally about to begin. The arena master stepped forward. His voice echoed throughout the combat hall. Both participants have arrived. Silence spread and thousands of eyes focused upon the stage. Both participants have accepted the challenge. The pressure intensified. According to the rules, the duel shall continue until surrender or incapacity. The crowd held its breath. Peter stepped forward, and Tony stepped forward. The distance between them gradually shortened. Elsa, the monk, the magistrate, and the Clark Patriarch watched carefully. Even Skylar forgot her irritation. For the first time that morning, genuine anticipation filled the arena. The arena master raised his hand. Then, finally, the signal descended. The duel began. Boom. To be continued. Hope you liked today's video. Join the community by subscribing and dropping a like. I'll be back with another update as soon as possible. See you then.